Okay, so the other day I was bored and I didn't know what to watch, and then I remembered a movie scene where a prom girl was covered in blood, killing everyone in sight. So you know, I had to give Carrie a watch. When going to watch it, turns out this movie has 4 films, so I just decided to watch the newest one. The movie starts off with a woman alone in bed in some kind of agony. She doesn't understand what's happening and she's praying desperately. She doesn't even know that she's pregnant. Then silence. A baby girl arrives, and for one terrible moment, the woman named Margaret White grabs a knife and goes to stab the baby. She doesn't. That baby is Carrie White, our lead for this movie. Years later, we're at a high school and it's swim class. All of the other girls are flirting and kissing with the boys, while Carrie is awkward, pale, and completely out of place. She is a weirdo. Skipping along, after class, the girls head to the shower. Carrie is in there with them when she notices blood running down her legs. She has no idea what it is. She thinks she's bleeding to death and starts screaming, begging for help, clawing at the other girls in a panic. And instead of helping her, they do the opposite. They circle her, laughing, throwing tampons and pads, chanting, while Chris films the whole thing on her phone. Yes, a girl Chris, short for Christine. The PE teacher hears the commotion and forces her way in, slaps Carrie for overreacting, which is crazy, and immediately orders everyone out. Then, in the principal's office, the PE teacher tries to explain what's actually happening, that it's just her period, that it's normal, that she's okay. They then say that they'll call her mother to pick her up, and Carrie starts to freak out. And this is where we get our first glimpse at her powers. No! Margaret comes and picks her up, and while waiting in the car, Carrie overhears the bullies laughing at the video of them throwing the tampons at her. When they get home, Carrie hears her mother banging her head against the wall. Carrie is quite normal compared to Margaret. Instead of comforting her for what happened, her mother launches into scripture. She smacks Carrie in the face with a Bible and forces her in the prayer closet under the stairs, on some Harry Potter vibes. We then cut to Sue and Tommy in his Jeep, and she starts feeling bad for what she did to Carrie. Remember this for later. The next day at school, the PE teacher lines the girls up in the gym and runs them into the ground. Squats, laps, more squats. If they don't do it, they won't get to go to prom. Chris tries to rally the girls, saying that if they all band together, they can't stop them from going to prom, when none of the girls back her up and she ends up looking like a clown. The dialogue in this whole scene is so corny, like this is literally a Disney movie. The PE teacher kicks her out of class, suspends her from school, and pulls her prom privileges. Chris storms out, furious, vowing that this isn't over. When Carrie arrives at school, everyone is laughing at her and is writing profanities on her locker. She goes to the bathroom, where she actually realizes her power, telekinesis, breaks a mirror and smiles. She's very creepy. Carrie then goes to the library and starts researching. She finds a YouTube video of someone making pages out of a book move with just their hand. Meanwhile, Chris brings her father and they go to the principal to try to get her prom privileges back. The PE teacher says that Chris is the one that recorded the video of Carrie in the bathroom and all they have to do is check her phone. But Chris refuses to hand over her phone and her father eventually backs down. She is still banned from the prom. Chris then confronts the girls for not backing her up, but Sue says she actually feels bad for what they did to Carrie and they got what they deserve. At home that night, Carrie tests her powers. She has books surrounding her and starts making them float in mid-air, eventually leading to her whole bed floating. This scene is given Chronicle so much like the exact same energy. This movie is basically what you'd get if Disney and Chronicle had a baby. Her mother hears the commotion, grabs a knife and runs upstairs. Carrie slams her hands down when she hears her mother open the door and pretends to be asleep. We cut to Sue, who is still struggling with what she did, and she comes up with a plan. She goes to Tommy after baseball practice and asks him to take Carrie to the prom instead of her. Tommy thinks she's lost her mind, but Sue means it. She needs to do something that actually counts. After some discussing, Tommy reluctantly agrees. Tommy finds Carrie in the school cafeteria and asks her to prom. Carrie runs away and she tells him to stop trying to trick her, which is valid. The PE teacher catches Carrie crying in the locker room and thinks something's wrong. When Carrie tells her it's Tommy Ross who asks her to the prom, the PE teacher smiles and encourages her to go. Tommy then shows up at her house trying to convince her to go again, and she declines. He then says he isn't leaving until she says yes. Because she wants him to leave, she's fearful of her mother seeing her talking to a boy. She agrees. This is actually so weird when you think about it. He's basically manipulating and blackmailing her into going because his girlfriend feels guilty. That night, she came home late because she had gone to a fabric store earlier. Her mother catches her and confronts her, and that's when Carrie tells her she's been invited to prom. Her mother freaks out, telling her to tell Tommy that she isn't going. Carrie puts her foot down and says no. She's going. Her mother tries to force her into the prayer closet, and Carrie gets angry and uses her powers in front of her mother to lift all the furniture. Carrie begs her to stand up, and when she doesn't, she uses her power to force Margaret in the air and makes her listen. Meanwhile, Chris, Billy, and Billy's friends drive out late at night to a farm. They climb into the pig pen and kill one of the pigs. Chris cuts the pig, and they fill a bucket with blood and put it in Billy's car. That's low-key really weird. On the night before prom, Chris and Billy sneak into the gym. Billy climbs into the rafters above the stage and positions the bucket and a rope through a pulley. The next evening, Carrie stands in front of her bedroom mirror in her dress, hair done, and a little makeup on. Margaret appears in the doorway and stares at the corsage Tommy sent over.
Red. I might have known it would be red.
It's pink.
I told you, she's crazy. Carrie uses her powers to make her mother stop hurting herself, telling her she knows it won't make her stay. When Tommy's car appears outside, Margaret tries one last thing. She's going to go out there and tell that boy the truth, that Carrie was born of sin and she's a witch. Carrie uses her power to slide Margaret into the prayer closet and lock it. She leans against the door and apologizes, saying she'll be home early. We cut to the prom, and Carrie stares at the transformed gym like she's walked into a fairy tale. After some time passes, a slow song starts. Carrie says she can't dance, but Tommy won't take no for an answer. This guy does not understand consent. He gets her on the floor and walks her through it, step by step, hand in hand. After a while, someone announces prom king and queen voting will start. Ballots go up to the chaperone's table, but what the students don't know is that Tina, Chris's friend, has been stuffing the box with fake ballots all evening. At home, Sue gets a text from Chris, taunting her about the plan, and she runs to her car. When the results come in, the winners are Tommy Ross and Carrie White. Carrie looks around stunned, generally not sure who they're applauding for. Tommy takes her hand and they walk up to the stage where Carrie is crowned. What they don't know is that Carrie is standing directly on a circle on the stage floor, exactly where she needs to be. Chris grips the rope with shaking hands, but she couldn't do it. The moment stretches, Billy threatens her, and both of them start yanking the rope hard until the bucket tips. Red pig's blood falls mostly over Carrie, some across to Tommy. For a second, nobody does anything. Then the screens on the stage flicker and Chris's shower video fills them. The whole audience starts laughing hysterically at her. The PE teacher tries to reach her, and Carrie uses her powers in front of everyone to push her back. Then the bucket comes loose from its rope and falls, hitting Tommy directly on the head. He's dead. Carrie goes to her knees and looks at Tommy while covered in the blood. She then stands up and looks out to the crowd. Blood starts floating above her as she screams, and the whole crowd gets pushed back, and a girl's head gets slammed into the glass on the door. She slams the door shut, knocks over all sorts of furniture, and slams the bleachers together, crushing someone. The sprinklers kick on, and it starts raining inside the school. Carrie slaps one of the bullies with electric cords, using them as a whip over and over until she gets set on fire. She uses her powers to grab the PE teacher and brings her to safety. Whew. Then we see a crazy shot of the whole school on fire, burning down. Outside, Carrie sees Chris and Billy driving away, and she walks through the streets, leaving a trail of destruction. She finds Billy's car at a red light, and Billy tries to start the engine and run away, but she smashes the ground with her steps, causing a massive hole to appear. They have no choice but to turn around, and Chris tells Billy to hit and kill her with the car. As they speed towards her, she uses her powers like Gojo's Infinity The CGI looked kinda rough here, not gonna lie. Chris tried to drive the car to run her over, but Carrie lifts it off the ground with the tires spinning uselessly in the air and slams it into the side of a gas station, where Chris's face slams right into the windshield and she dies. Carrie then explodes the gas station before walking home. She comes through the front door, still drenched in blood. She looks through the prayer room to see that her mother has escaped. Carrie goes upstairs and takes a bath, where she comes to the realization of what she has done. She changes into a nightgown and goes to her room, where she turns around and finds her mother behind her. She kneels and they begin the Lord's Prayer together. Margaret then reaches behind her back for a knife she's been hiding and drives it into Carrie's back. Carrie screams and uses her powers to push them both away, sending herself tumbling down the stairs. Margaret follows her, carrying another knife as Carrie crawls away. She raises the second knife and swings but misses, then grabs it back and slices her ankles and then her arm. Before she can land a successful strike to her face, Carrie freezes it mid-swing. She raises her up and the scissors, shears, knitting needles, and steel rulers fly right into her mother, pinning her to the wall like Jesus on the cross. Carrie pulls out all of the tools and comforts her mother on the floor when she hears Sue walk in. Sue offers to help Carrie and Carrie says,
"Why couldn't you leave me alone?
I'm sorry.
She uses her powers to grab her.
Look what you turned me into."
Sue is begging, apologizing, terrified, and somewhere in Carrie's last clear moments, she feels something. She confesses to Sue that she killed her mom and that she wants her back. Carrie reaches out and tells Sue it's a girl, which Sue had no idea. Sue is pregnant. The house begins to collapse and stones start falling from the sky. Carrie uses her powers and forces Sue outside to safety. The stones keep falling until the house sinks completely. Honestly, the ending kinda loses me a little. It's just destruction after destruction. I'm not sure where the story is supposed to go at this point. Sometime later, Sue visits Carrie's grave, where the headstone has been vandalized. Someone spray painted "Carrie White burns in hell" across the stone. She kneels and places white roses there anyway. And that's the end of the movie. Let me know what you guys want to see next. That's all I've got today.